Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to get to know me a little bit more. So there are new people here, and also I got a long time ago people requested videos where I can talk and Daniel about how we met, and we are thinking about recording that video for you guys. But before that, I want to introduce myself and you get to know me a little bit more. And also because while we met, I was living in China, and also I do help people find teaching job in China. And every time someone who's interested in teaching in China would ask me, how did I end up there and how did I find a job? So today we are going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about how I ended up in China, or how did I go to China. So before we start talking about the story, I just want to tell you guys that I'll be talking in English because I'm more comfortable in talking in English, but also because I have friends who are not Moroccans and who are not Arabs, so it is just fair for them to understand. So just on the note, and I hope you guys understand, and let's get started with the story. We're going to start from my childhood. You guys, I had like I can say a pretty awesome childhood. I'm very grateful for my parents, for my family. We had an amazing childhood. Like, you know, we were not rich, we were not poor. I went to university. In university, my major, a lot of people ask me about my major because I teach English in China. So people who wants to go to China would ask me, what is my major? What did I do to go to China? Well, my major has nothing to do with like what I'm doing. My major, I studied law in French. Like you can study law in English, I mean in Arabic or in French. So I studied law in French, and now I'm an English teacher. So yeah, it didn't have anything to do with my major. My last year in university was, I think, to the third year. It was 2011, 2012, around that time. So that's when the things started going kind of wrong. So at that time, I felt like things were going wrong because that's how I felt about it at that time. But now when I go back to that time, I just think things are meant to be. Sometimes when we are going through a rough time, we don't know what is good for us. We just think it is the end for us, but God has a different path for us, and I'm very grateful about it. So till the last year, and then all of a sudden I feel very sick. I felt very sick that I didn't understand what was going on with my body. I felt pain. I was not eating. I was throwing up. Whenever I eat anything, I throw up. My stomach was hurting so bad. I was not sleeping at night. I felt so much pain. My body was painful. It was so hard for me to accept that situation because I had a goal. So my body was telling me that I need to stop. My body needed a break. But my brain and the thing inside me did not let me. So it was like kind of confusion. And I felt like, you know, at that time I felt like a failure. That's how I felt about myself. But it's just like God was telling me it's time to stop. That's how I think about it. Like, God was telling me, okay, now you need to stop, and like I have something else for you. But you know, at that time it's just so hard to accept that situation. I was not sleeping, I was not eating, I felt like a failure, I felt useless, I felt hopeless, I felt tired, I felt drained, like mentally and like physically. To be honest with you, I never said it out loud, but I had suicidal thoughts. But I'm so religious that I was like fighting myself not to think about that, not to think dark. I was like, that's not an option, Miriam. Like, you know, that's not even an option. Try to think about something else. At that point, I told my mom I need help because I was not sleeping at night. Like my brain was working 24/7. But at the same time, I wanted to do more, not only medication, but I tried to pull myself up from this. So at that time, I started thinking, I thought about au pair program, and I talked about this program many times. So it's a program where you stay with family, like a host family in different country, and they host you, you teach their kids, maybe teach them your language, and they also pay you to learn their language. It's like a culture exchange thing. I was trying to find a family that would host me. I finally found this Italian family. So this Italian family, I'm so grateful for them. They helped me a lot. So when I was with them, I realized so many things. I started seeing life in a different way. I traveled with them around Europe a little bit. We even stayed in Ibiza for like a month, which is something I never dreamed of, and I'm really grateful for until this day. So one day, while I was with them, I received an email from China. You know, I was very surprised because I never thought about going to China, or like never dreamed about that. Like, you know, I love the country, I love Asian culture, but I never had like even dreamed about going there. So when I got that email, I was super excited. I started looking into like China, things in China, about the culture, and you know, and something inside me was telling me I should go. You know, to my parents, for my parents, I am sure it was a very hard decision for them to let me go. You know, because we had no friends, we had no family, I knew no one there. It's just like strangers to me that I talked to. Also because if they saw what I've been going through, so they didn't stand against that, even though I'm sure they didn't want me to go, but they never said don't go. They actually supported me, and you know, them letting me go showed me how much they love me. Not, they don't love me and they just sent me, but they loved me so much that they stand with me. And I remember it was really hard for them, and at the airport was like so heartbreaking to see my mom crying. Like that was so heartbreaking. And I remember she gave me this like money. She gave me some US dollars, and you know, she was like, you know, in case things didn't go well or things are going wrong, just book a flight and come back home. And I remember that. But like, you know, there was this thing inside me that was telling me I have to go. There was like intuition or maybe or something, like this voice inside me that was telling me like I have to go. And you know, because I have been through so much and I have been feeling all these like negative feelings, I wanted to change. I really needed to change. So I didn't care about what I was going, because I was like, it won't be as hard as what I have been through. And you know, one thing, no one told me good thing about China. Everyone told me like negative things, like, you know, you have to be careful. Why China? It's not safe. Like, I landed there and I couldn't believe I was in China alone, you know, and people were so kind. And I'm going to make another video about it, about what I think about China, about good things and bad things. If you guys want, let me know. But I had this awesome experience. And at that time, my plan was to be abroad and travel around Asia for 1 year and then come back home. So when I was there, I visited a little bit around China. I traveled to Hong Kong, to South Korea. I was planning on like traveling a little bit everywhere, and then if I like somewhere, maybe stay a little bit longer. But for me, like Hong Kong was kind of like very crowded. Korea was kind of like, to me, is very stressful, but China just got my heart. People were really nice. People were so helpful. I started meeting a lot of people and making a lot of friends, and At that time, I met foreigners who were teaching in China, and I asked them how do they do that. So they told me what they needed, and I had to get this certificate to start teaching. So while I was working and doing some part-time, I was at the same time doing some taking some classes online to take that certificate, and I started looking for jobs there. I need to say that at that time, having or getting a work visa was not as hard as now. And then I went to this small city that's called Tanshan. It's in north near Beijing, closer to Beijing. I felt home. Like, I felt so, people were really kind. Even in Shanghai, people were really kind, but it's like a bigger city. People are kind of like in rush. People, like, things are very fast, like not as fast as I felt in Korea, but in China it was kind of a little bit slower. But in the smaller city, things were very slow. My job, I loved the school where I was working. They appreciate everything you do. People made me feel home and appreciated my work, which made me wanted to work even harder. And then I was like, you know, I'm going to stay here for just a year. And then after a year, I renewed for another year, and for another year renewed until I found myself that I was like 7 years, 8 years. So that's how I ended up in China, and how I ended up loving the life in China. And then, like, I think after 2 years in China, then I went back home. I felt so proud of myself after 2 years, and I worked and I made my own money. I traveled with my own money, and I went back home with gifts. And you know, just the look of your parents when you go back home. And then I remember I gave my mom the money that she gave me, and it just made me so proud of myself. And then I realized that never lose hope. And I try to remind myself of this because of this situation that we are now with COVID. A lot of people losing jobs, a lot of people having a hard time. But sometimes this is just like, we have to stop what we are doing now, because God has other plans for us that are even better than what we have. But it's just like, we need to be a little patient, and we need to have faith in God. After feeling what I felt, after being in a situation where I felt like, if I can help anyone you know, reach their dreams, that would make me so happy. And that's how I started, like, helping people find jobs in China. If I can, I do my best to. There are people that already found jobs, there are people that we couldn't find them jobs, but I do my best, like, to help. Now you know how I ended up in China, and next time we're going to tell you also how I met Daniel. I'm just gonna give you a few advices, like, if you need help, seek help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And you know, you have to know that mental health problem is a normal thing. It's just like physical health problems. Don't be ashamed of that. If you need help, seek help. I'm so grateful that I did, and I asked for help. I still get some panic attacks now, but I'm very grateful. I'm so grateful, and I always thank Allah, alhamdulillah. And there are times where it gets really hard, but after all, I'm very grateful. So I just want you to keep hope, and if you're going through a hard time, remember that it's going to be okay. Remember that, you know, there are people that loves you and people that needs you around. I hope you guys like this video. I really hope you learned something from it. And next time we're going to talk about how I met Daniel. So I'm going to see you next time. Bye.